Hey folks, Doug Blake with Body Design University. In this video, I want to talk to you about stimulus control. Now, this is in chapter 3, page 83, and it's actually a really important component of this chapter. ACE has given you an apply what you know box. It's a very simple concept, but its use in the real world can be extremely valuable. One of the issues that we face in general, and I've had this with clients for many years, is they always come in late, or they forget their workout, or they forget their sneakers, believe it or not, or they forget the time that they have, or they forget to make a payment. As every area of your gym, workout, health and wellness life, every part of it can have issues related to it. And this is where stimulus control comes into the picture. Now, stimulus, think about it for a second. Two words: stimulus, stimuli, stimulating something, or somebody being stimulated or providing a stimulus, and control. So actually using some sort of technique, something that will act as an antecedent stimulus so that you affect behavior. So in other words, all I want my clients to do is to show up to the workout. Now, that's just the workout part of it. That's just the workout. So stimulus control, creating some sort of stimuli that you're controlling prior to the event that you want them to participate in, right? Coming to the gym to work out. This is what we call an antecedent, prior to. That's what an antecedent is. And when you look on page 83, ACE is basically telling you that antecedents can be manipulated in the environment. And one of the classic, most common ways nowadays is to, where's my phone? Is to put an alarm on the phone. I mean, it's really that simple. And I'll take this one step further, though, just so you understand. The concept of stimulus control is not a magic bullet, and there's a couple of reasons why, but I'll get to that in a second. The point here is that what ACE wants you to know, what they want you to understand here about antecedents and stimulus control, is that it's something that you as the trainer can actually implement. You can actually speak to your client about it. You can help them to set up these environmental regulators, these controls that will create a stimulus to affect a behavior. And normally, if you think about it from the end point, you reverse engineer this in a sense. That's the way I would recommend you kind of think about it. Stimulus control is basically, you want this behavior to occur. Okay. So what you do is you create prior to that, right? Reverse engineer it. Prior to that, create something in the environment for the individual that's a stimuli, right? And you are controlling it, obviously, stimulus control. You are controlling the stimuli that will now affect your client's behavior. Again, classic example, it's going to be an alarm. This is like the basic, most simple way to affect an environment or to create a stimuli, right, that has a control mechanism to it to get the behavior that you want. We want to do this before they know that they got to go to the gym. We want to do this beforehand. So it's a quote antecedent. All we're doing, we'll continue to use this example of a alarm as sort of the perfect example of an antecedent and stimulus control. So their workout is at 5 o'clock, and they're giving you this example here. ACE is giving you already given you this. So their workout is at 5 o'clock, takes them 30 minutes to drive. What time do they have to leave? 4:30. Then why are you still on the phone doing work at 4:45? Holy cow. Now I got to go. And I'm late. You got to leave at 4:30. So where is the stimuli? What is the stimulus, right? You're going to use? What is that thing you're going to now implement or put into their environment? Well, they're going to do it to then get them to or induce the proper behavior, which is, what's the proper behavior? Leaving at 4:30, not 4:45. To get them to leave at 4:30, what's one of the best ways to do that? Well, and I'm going to give you an example that I used to use way back. it actually, it worked okay, but then it actually backfired. I'm going to tell you why. But the stimulus is an alarm. The alarm goes off at 4:25 or 4:20 or 4:15, or even at 4:30. Boom, stimulus control. Oh, it's time to go. They get up 4:30, they leave. Perfect. That's an antecedent. That is a behavioral modifier that you put in place prior to the behavior that you want to invoke. So the point is, look, it's very simple. Even as I'm saying this, this is pretty straightforward. And I know as a trainer, you're probably asking yourself, or a future trainer, you're asking yourself, well, is it really that hard to do? And the answer is apparently, yeah, it is hard to do for some people, which is why you have to have a stimulus to, right? Like a alarm. But let me tell you what I used to do. I used to literally call my clients on the phone. Some of my more challenging clients that would either show up late, forget their workouts multiple times, I would literally call them. Yes. 30 minutes before, I would ask them, when's the best time for me to, maybe call me at 4:30 or give me, and I would literally call them. Well, that backfires. Why? Because that stimulus control can become too much of you can have them rely on that too much. Ultimately, the stimulus control that you're inputting into the environment, that antecedent to affect behavior, needs to be on the client, and it needs to be something that can be maintained, be consistent, that will allow them to effectively modify their ineffective behavior to the proper behavior every time the stimuli is invoked. Okay, so every time the alarm rings at 4:30 in the afternoon for a 5 o'clock workout, boom, they get up. That's an effective use of an antecedent, in this case, the stimulus control that we're talking about. Now, in the apply what you know box, they're saying that an effective option is stimulus control, refers to adjusting the environment to increase the likelihood. See, there it is. I've had clients put on their phone or on their wristwatch or something, anything to put alarms on it. And guess what happens? Yeah, it works a couple of times. It increased the likelihood. It was not the perfect scenario. So sometimes not even a simple fix like that can actually work. Now, that's all well and good. I think you can figure this out when it comes to their actual workout. You can actually provide motivation for individuals. There's other ways, other antecedents that you can use for this, but the stimulus control component can actually work for many folks. Sometimes if you have it on auto, you can automate an email, you can automate a text. You can automate some of these things that basically lets you get this probably, I know I do, for my electric bill. I get these automated reminders. Hey, you got 1 week before you could do the same thing. I mean, if a client trains 3 days a week, you can automate your operating system, right? To shoot a text, shoot an email, right? A reminder. Hey, workout's coming up in 30 minutes. Don't forget to bring your sneakers. Don't forget to, wear socks or whatever it is you want them to do. You are providing stimulus. That is a stimulus control. You're controlling the environment. It's an antecedent because you're doing it prior to the actual behavior that you're trying to invoke. Hope that makes sense. Now, again, workouts, training, things like that's okay. Your biggest challenge is with their nutrition. And if you can think of a stimulus control to help with nutrition, you might want to write those down. I'll give you one that I use, which is that when I wake up in the morning, so, if I'm tired or groggy, I don't always want to make coffee. I'm going to use that as an example. If I were to, the night before, already put the coffee in the container, like I make espresso, do the water, if I do all of that the night before, guess what? It becomes a lot easier for the proper behavior. And by the way, the proper behavior I'm telling you about is to drink a cup of coffee before I work out. That's what I do. And sometimes it doesn't work out because if I don't have that environmental control, sometimes I'm just too lazy and I don't do it. But if I beforehand put an environmental control in there, i.e., already having everything ready. And my goodness, if you got a timer on your coffee maker, for instance, think of that. Be perfect. Think about it now from an eating perspective. We're back to your alarms. Yeah, these are critical ways. Again, for me dealing with clients, it all comes down to these really important ways to get them to wake up and go, whoa, bing, 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 time to eat. You get it? A lot of folks will bring their water bottles for water. These are all ways to control the environment, to create a stimulus prior to invoking that particular behavior that you're trying to invoke. And that's really, really all that stimulus control is. Of course, I'm not going to use these terms with my clients. I'm just going to try and help them to understand that, give me your phone and I'll set the alarms for you. And they're going to go off every 3 hours, which means you need to eat, have a snack. You get the idea. By the way, you can incorporate this same concept into their sleep. Sleep patterns. Good sleep hygiene is critical for overall health and wellness. So just kind of keep that in mind. And by the way, if this does make sense, you understand it, write the word understand in the comment section below, because I hope it's helpful for you. And by the way, remember to give us a like, a thumbs up, and to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. By the way, if you have subscribed, you're awesome. Thanks. We appreciate that. Also, keep in mind that every Wednesday night we do a live study. Now it's 6 p.m., 6 to 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Wednesday night, and we use Quizlet. We create a competitive environment called Quizlet Live. A lot of fun. Moves very fast, right? Just come on in and participate. It's only going to help you when it comes to taking your ACE exam, which we are here to help you to pass. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below. If you have any remarks, or if you want to see a particular area for me to do a video on, I'm more than happy to look at those comments and consider in my long list of video content that I'm always in the process of creating. So just let us know. Have a great week. We will see you next week. Thanks.